Hello and welcome to another edition of The One Team We Agree On. I'm Jillian.
And I'm Kyle. How are you doing today?
Well, could be better.
Yeah, that was a rough night, but even in darkness, there's hope. And that's what we're going to hopefully provide you today, and also some honesty. But on today's show, we're going to talk a little bit about some Union news. Obviously, we got Brandon Craig loaned to Austin.
Yep.
We're going to talk about some really good news in that Jacob Glessnes is now a two-time MLS All-Star. And then we're going to review a disappointing night in LA.
Yes, I feel like that's becoming a theme. Disappointment in LA.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe one day it will become a good day in LA.
Yep.
But before we get started, what are we wearing today?
I went with the Do Poops kit. My first one that I ever got.
Yeah, we got that on eBay. I think I paid $36 for it. And yeah, I know Billy, shout out to Billy, that Allie kind of was like roasted his comment or something. Remember that story you told us?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wearing shout out to Mike Barrera. I'm kind of channeling him and taking the 2021 Supporters Shield shirt that Sons of Ben had in 2022 with one of my favorite jerseys, baseball jerseys. I've been wearing this a lot, and
it's nice.
You know, I mean, it's a nice combination. Maybe I'll wear it to a game one day outside of a lucky jersey. But wow.
Before we get started, make sure if you're not already following us, you can follow us on all the social medias except for Threads, because we have not jumped on that bandwagon just yet. Not just yet. But you can find us on Twitter at theoteamweagreeon. We are on Facebook and Instagram at The One Team We Agree On. And our podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, and we're on YouTube. So make sure you are following us and subscribed if you've not already. And thank you to everyone who has been listening and commenting and giving us feedback. We always appreciate that.
Absolutely. So let's get started. Brandon Craig loaned to Austin FC through the end of 2023 MLS season. The Union receive a 2024 third-round draft pick and up to $125,000 in GAM, depending on his performances. And I always like how they say performance.
Right.
Because what does that mean? Probably starts, maybe some goals and assists.
I think
great. Well, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's win-win, honestly. I think it's a good deal because he needs playing time. He's not going to get playing time being behind Jacob Glessnes and Jack Elliott, Damian Lowe, having those guys in front of him. It's just going to be too hard. So hopefully he goes and gets some experience on the first team, and we can see what he can do.
For sure. For me, like you said, it is a good piece of business because the Union, you know, they make a little money off of that. Probably go back to the academy, I imagine. A third-round draft pick, is Ernst really going to pay that? But maybe it's a bargaining chip.
Right.
You know, maybe he takes 2 third-round picks and gets a bench player or a kid that has some promise and moves up, or maybe he just goes all in and gets a really quality piece during his transfer window. I mean,
you just never know what can happen with draft picks. I mean, like Jason Kelsey was a 6th-round draft pick.
Right.
I mean, that's football, but still, you just never know.
Look at Jack Elliott.
Yeah, look at Jack Elliott.
So I think there's value there. And like you said, and even Jim said in the presser, he needs playing time. He really does. And people are I saw people saying, "Oh, well, this is, a big loss." I mean, from a depth perspective, maybe I get, but he's not even cracked really meaningful minutes. So,
right.
How is this really a loss? For me, I think if he goes out and plays Austin in Austin, right? Then we know we have a reliable backup down the road,
Right.
and we keep him.
Yeah, I mean, bottom line is alone.
If he struggles, then, well, maybe he's kind of a player that at the end of the day we send out somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he stays in Austin. Maybe they buy him out. I don't know. At the end of the day, it's a win-win. Does it leave us a little thin on center back at the moment? Yeah, because Damien's with Jamaica. So, but I think long term, it's a win-win for both parties. So, and at the end of the day, that's what the union want. They want to put their players when they get sent off in the best possible position.
Mm-hmm.
Austin needs some center back help. It's a win.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
And then next on our list, today's probably going to be a shorter show. No interview today. Jacob Glessnes added to the MLS All-Star roster. It's his
very deservedly so.
Absolutely. It's his second all-time selection. So how are you feeling about that?
Oh, he absolutely deserves it. I mean, he was definitely a snub. You could say there was a few snubs there. Obviously, I think that big time the case for Julian Carranza, he should be an all-star.
Mm-hmm.
And you could make a case for Kai.
You could.
But I think absolutely Jacob Glessnes getting selected is great. So we have video of
the selection.
Yeah, of Jim letting Jacob and the rest of the team know that Jacob was selected.
And we have some thoughts on this.
We do have some thoughts. So they were gathered all together for this, and a lot of people pointed out the reaction of Kai on it. So Kai looks thrilled.
Yeah, he does.
And I love Kai. I do. But yeah.
I mean, Jim's all excited. Obviously, this is from the Atlanta game. They announced this. And there's his son.
Jacob's son is adorable. He does look like Ralphie from A Christmas Story.
He's talking to Kai right now. And Kai's like, I should be there. I really should be there. Yeah. And everybody else is excited. But, I mean, let's talk about that. We do need to discuss this a little bit. So, all right. We're going to stop sharing. And we're going to get back to this in a second here. All right.
Yeah. So, that's exciting for Jacob. I will say, so, we're going to the skills challenge, and I'm kind of bummed that none of our guys will be on the skills challenge because, wouldn't you love to see Brujo do some hit the crossbar, and I'd love to see Jacob do it too, to be honest. But come on, don't lie. We all want to see Jose Martinez go to hit the crossbar.
No, I think if it's a long goal challenge or something like that, you put Jacob in there. But that was announced before he was added. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I broke down some union history of all-star selections, right? Mm-hmm. So, Peter Novak was in there from till 2012, I believe. And, he had, what did he have? He had 4 all-stars selected during his time. And then oh my gosh. Hackworth had 2. All right. McInerney and Adu. And then Jim came in, in between 14 and 15. And then, Jim, since that time, has had 10 all-star selections.
Now, granted, Jim's been there longer.
Correct.
But
correct. So I broke down. I went in like a deep dive, like per coach, amount of years, and Jim's still ahead. The fun thing is, Glessnes is now second all-time in Union all-star selections. Him and Kai are tied with 2. Do you want to guess who's number 1?
Andre Blake, obviously.
Andre Blake with 4, yes.
Yes.
So I thought that was cool. I mean, Andre Blake up there at 4 is awesome. Granted, you would like to see him this year, but with obviously the Jamaica call-ups.
Between that and him being out for injury.
Yeah, I mean, you can make an argument. Even though he's second right now, I think he's tied actually with Willis at 0.8 goals allowed per game. So, I mean, he's kind of back to his normal.
Yeah.
But still, I mean.
And sooner he gets back,
the better.
The better.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is an awesome opportunity for him. He's well-deserving.
Oh, for sure. He is.
And he's played well this year. I mean, he's had some slip-ups. I mean, maybe it's not as dominant as last year, but if you remember earlier in the season, I said he elevated his game, and he still has. I mean, when Andre's back there, and even last night, I thought him and Jack were excellent.
Yeah. And
we'll talk about that in a second. But at the end of the day, maybe it's not what you expected out of him, but he's playing at a high level. So
Andre, he's made some really, really great saves this season. And one thing that's going to probably stick in my brain forever is because we're standing there in the river end when he got hurt. And he's like hobbling over to make a save and everything and just like laying it all out there, and at the same time I'm like, oh God, no, Andre. I'm like, my heart was like breaking at that point. I'm like, oh God, he's in so much pain. Like, but he gave it his all, so
he did.
That's what he's a competitor, we love Andre Blake for it.
We do. But yeah, again, we'll be there at the skills challenge. So if you're going down, definitely let us know. Because we would like to meet up, talk, watch the skills challenge with you.
Yep.
And just talk union soccer in general. But let's dive into the match.
Yeah, so all evening we had MLS 360 on all evening. We were watching that leading up to it, and then we finally get to the game. And wow.
There were points on the table last night.
There were. Okay, so some of the teams ahead of us, there were points dropped there, and we had a big opportunity to move up on the table.
We did.
And we did not cash in on that. We did not. And, of course, I'm thinking it'll be a miracle if we get through the first 15 minutes without getting scored on. Well, we almost did. And then Bendit gave up that goal. Now, I was really pleased that Ua scored. Now, funny thing about Ua scoring.
Let's talk about it.
So Kyle got up to use the bathroom, and that's when Ua scored. And as many of you might know, Ua is Kyle's favorite current player. And he's down in the bathroom, and I'm yelling. I'm like, Ua scored, and it was. I'm like, go back to the bathroom.
There was a lot of people who were like, go back to the bathroom.
Yeah. But what a nice goal that was, and I'm like, man, if we can just go in halftime tied, and then of course we didn't, because of that goal off the corner.
But let's watch Ua's goal here, because this is really set up by Glessnes. And I really just want to show this because I like just how his awareness.
Yeah. I mean, it was set up wonderfully. I mean, it was a really nice goal. And unfortunately, of course, Ua's goal is going to be overshadowed by, of course, the ones that LA got, especially name that we all got tired of hearing last night, Ricky Puig.
So nice shot there. Bounces off with the great reaction there. And again, that was a very clinical goal for him. He's there right in the right spot and finishes it. And he had some nice curl on it.
Yeah.
But brings up a bigger issue in the last 2 games in Atlanta and now here.
We can't finish.
3 shots on target in the last 2 games. Now, granted, hits that, but
yeah.
I mean, last year this time we're hitting it shots on target all the time, and we're getting those goals. And right now, I just think, and we'll talk about this in a second, but I just think confidence is lacking still.
A year to the day that we put up 7 goals on DC.
Mm-hmm.
It
is what it is at this point. But, for me, when I saw the lineup announced, Real was at left back. Mm-hmm. It was a normal diamond. Yeah. Jim was going back to what he knew. I really think Jose's early yellow really changed that.
And let's talk about that. That was definitely a little soft there.
It was. I mean, Jim even said, I think Jose's reputation preceded him there on the foul.
And Jim mentioned something like, Ricky Puig could have easily he could have been carded too.
Right, but, he's an MLS darling. He's an MLS all-star. So
yeah, it's like, oh my gosh, you touch him, you're getting a card immediately.
That was really the theme last night because he would do something and get away with it, or no call, or like they just blow in advance. And then all of a sudden, like somebody puts a finger on him.
Yeah.
And it's yellow. You get yellow, you get yellow. But I digress. I think the biggest thing was the glitches.
Yeah, so that was ridiculous. And we're sitting there and we're thinking, is that our TV? And then, of course, we saw on Twitter people reacting, like going through the same thing. So if you weren't watching on the Apple TV feed, the screen would go gray, or it would go to their screen that's like kind of like their loading screen, if you will.
Right.
And at one point it came on, but the sound got all like chipmunky. And
and at that point post that like the chipmunks or something.
I don't know, but it was ridiculous. And that was really bad. And it happened like at least 3 times that it went out for like probably about 2 minutes, and it went out right before the 3rd goal against us. And so we're in our living room, and I put on we have an Alexa in there, and I just told Alexa to put on 97.5 The Fanatic. So we listened. So we heard Dave Leno on the radio call there, and when Ricky Puig scored, and I'm thinking, well, I'm glad I didn't have to watch that. Of course, it came on the feed came on right after the goal.
It did.
But that was just really bad on Apple TV's part. And I get that there are going to be glitches sometimes, especially as this is still a newer thing and getting figured out. But that was getting ridiculous.
It was. I thought that the glitches were really bad. And, there were some really key moments, again, with the...
Like, if I'm an LA fan, I'm probably pissed.
Now, I'm sure that's on LA's end. I don't know what was going on there.
Yeah.
But, really, let's talk about the goals that were given up last night. So the first one by Tyler Boyd, I heard Joe Tanzi say that Real was caught up too far up, and then Jim was like, was Carranza, which both are true, and we were caught a little out of position.
Yeah.
But Joe mishandles it. The ball goes in the net. It's 1-0. You're like, oh, here we go again.
Yep. And
then on the second goal, bad set piece defending this year.
Yeah, that was bad.
Goes off of Bizo into the net. But again, Joe just kind of jumps out like a cat, like kind of going at the screen.
Yeah.
And you could say, I saw somebody say, ooh, I should have gotten a header on it. He could have, but he was also getting thrown to the ground. And they were kind of like, the union were kind of like, what was that?
Yeah.
It was just not good set piece. Again, we give up these set piece late goals after we've tied it up. And I just feel like, okay, that's not the greatest thing. Now,
Andre Blake, does he make those saves?
I think Blake makes the first save. The second save, there's a lot of traffic in that area.
That might have been a tough one. What about the third
I still
one?
think he makes that save. So we'll talk about the third one. To Union's credit, they come out, and Jim mentioned this in the second half. They had some passion. They were creating opportunities. There were a couple passes and crosses in the box, and no one's there. It's like,
you're down by 1 goal. Okay.
I give them credit. But having said that, like, again, we're giving LA too much possession. Yep. Now, granted, LA was, I think, second in the MLS in possession, so that's what they're going to do.
We got them when they're hot, unfortunately. We got them at the wrong time. That didn't help. And then to get, to be behind from the beginning.
Still, there were some plays where it's just like we weren't sharp. And
right. We kept giving the ball away.
Yeah, and bad passes. Biza was not sharp on that. I mean, Jim said that you could have said 10 things about each player that they did not do well. At the end of the day, we didn't deserve a point.
Yeah, in the press conference, mentioned that he's not going to single out any individual. We win and we lose as a team. And there's things that each player could have done better. For sure. And did we lose this game because of Joe Bendik? It certainly didn't help.
He doesn't help the situation. And
are our chances better of winning if it's not Joe Bendik? Absolutely.
Yes. So I think, so going back to what we said, Andre covers up a lot of mistakes, right?
Right.
That's one. To your point about the third goal, does Andre make that save? And I said even Andre doesn't make that save, and people were like, well, Andre's got more leap. Yeah. I get that.
He maybe makes an incredible save there.
He has made those incredible saves. Yes. That's a 50-50 ball. That's a 50-50 ball. I guess my question is, why are we letting Ricky make that shot in that position?
It shouldn't have gotten to that point.
Exactly. Having said that, we can look at the stats. We can look at the analytics on Joe all we want. I mean, he's not
an MLS starter.
No, he's not.
Having him come in to finish out a game or something.
Or an injury or one game or
right.
That. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
That's fine.
He's serviceable for that.
I mean, he was serviceable in Atlanta. Okay. He had a good game. For Joe Bendik, he was a good game.
Yeah,
for
he
Joe.
was not terrible.
No. But you're keeping relying on him.
Yeah.
And that brings up our point. We dropped a post during the game poll, and we said, should Holden Trent start in Nashville?
And 87% of the respondents said that, yes, he should.
Now,
this was also, I had this poll going during the game last night up until a little bit after it ended. So we're all in our feelings at that point too.
Right, and we are. But at the end of the day, here's my thought. I don't see that happening because I think Jim is very loyal to Joe. But at what point do you say, we made first round selection on this guy?
Yeah.
He has some U2 playing time. Now, granted, he was nursing an injury on his finger. So that might play a little bit of factor into it still. But do you run him out in Nashville?
So do we want to see Joe Bendik get lit up by Hani Mukhtar, or do we want to see Holden Trent get lit up by Hani Mukhtar possibly?
Or do we want to say, or do we want to see Holden Trent play a great game?
Or he might. That's the thing. You don't know. He's not proven it.
And that's the thing. Somebody just before we went live was talking about that. Like, yeah, this guy's not going to go into a hostile environment. Anyway, At the end of the day, do you want somebody that has MLS experience, or do you want somebody that has no MLS experience that is your number one draft pick? I mean, at the end of the day, it's a double-edged sword. You're darned if you do, you're darned if you don't.
I mean, it's a little intimidating for him to go have his first MLS start in that environment with all that pressure. But
at the same time, well, you have to lose.
It's
do
a
we
tough.
want to see? I'm not. Well, I guess what I'm getting at is I'm not going to be upset if I see Holden Trent in net. I'm really
glad I don't need to make this decision.
I'm glad I don't either. But at the end of the day, you know, if he plays and he plays lights out, great. That's a win for Union.
Mm-hmm.
We still have Joe Bendick as the third string. I mean, we don't have anything to lose at this point.
I mean, yeah, and the fact is, we need to play better as a team.
I think that we keep saying this. The Union lack confidence when Andre's not in net.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, we didn't have Kai, we didn't have Damien either, but there's other losses on LA's side, and
it does look like we should have Kai back for Nashville. Thank goodness.
And that's nice, but at the end of the day, you know, right now we're just lacking some confidence.
Yeah.
And I know the fans are lacking some confidence. But I think we also need to realize it takes a nice hot streak going into playoffs. It takes a nice run at the Leagues Cup, even though it's the Leagues Cup, to make this all okay again. And that's what I keep saying to people is people are like, the season's over, this is disappointing. People are in their feelings, and rightfully so. We were all in our feelings last night. Like, that was not a good showing.
And you think the players aren't in their feelings about something?
They probably are.
Maybe, you know, maybe they need to go down in the sewer and have a little tour. And, you know, remember, it's just poop. Let it flow.
But,
yeah.
Or like Florence and the Machine. Shake it off.
Shake it up. Yes. Or Taylor Swift.
Or that too.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, you know, again, they just have not been good recently. And that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the shield's out of the picture. And that's, again, it is what it is. But
at this point, I think we just need to make sure we get a good playoff spot, like a good seed, because, well, we better hope we at least get a playoff game at home.
If we get a top 4 seed, all right, in that first round, and then we get some luck our way, make another run like these.
If we can get hot at the right time.
It's all that is all it takes at this point. So, I mean, it's unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary, but every team, every season goes through peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
We're at the valley right now.
You know what's really funny?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, like, the Phillies and the Union seem to be on the same route of peaks and valleys. They lost the freaking championship on the same day last year. And I swear, we were on a hot streak with the Union. The Phillies went on a hot streak. And we had an abysmal loss yesterday with the Phillies and today. And the Union lost yesterday. So it's like, I feel like I said to Kyle, I'm like, can you imagine being a 5-for-5 Philly fan, feel bad enough when we lose just, you know, for one team? Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, there's still hope. There
is, and that's
where I want to leave this at, is there's still hope. This team is too talented to not just one day get that confidence. Maybe it's when Andre comes back.
Mm-hmm.
That will happen. Now, do we need to be aggressive in the transfer window? Absolutely. We do. We need pieces to fill the voids that were left from last year.
Yeah.
Running back doesn't always work. I mean, I can look at my San Francisco Giants 2010, 2012, 2014. Sorry, guys, that are Phillies fans. But, you know, the one thing about that team that was great is while they ran it back, they always were adding pieces. And sometimes they worked, sometimes they didn't. I trust Ernst and I trust Jim to get the right pieces. If it makes sense now, I will say this. What I don't want is for them to get over anxious and say, we need a striker. There's some guy right there that's available, an aging 38-year-old striker that's at the end of his career. Yeah. Let's go get him.
I trust Ernst to make the right moves here.
Or like just overpay for a guy that maybe you don't because we need those players.
Yeah.
Let's be smart. Let's make sure we have the right pieces, because while we're ran back and maybe it doesn't work, we still got future years and future iterations of this union. Jim's back. We got to make sure we're set up for the future as well.
Right.
Because the last thing you want to do is go all in, it fails, and now you're down chasing the wooden spoon.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, let's see how it plays out. I'm confident we're going to add a piece or two here and there. Maybe it's not a star splash.
I think some people are going to be ready to ride if we don't do anything in the transfer window.
And if we don't, and things just didn't work out in our way, it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we still can make a run at the Cup, at the League's Cup, no matter what. So we got to keep hope in that. All right.
I think it will be super helpful when Andre and Damien come back.
Oh, absolutely.
And I still want to know what the heck is going on with Andres Perea. Like, I was really excited about having him, and I thought he played great when he was in for us. Was that in the CCL? Like, he was. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Obviously, Jim knows, and the coaching staff, they know more than we do.
At this point, I think it might be personality. It could be. It could just be that he's just not picking up on the pieces right.
Yeah. Yeah.
It could be a million things. It's a shame.
Yeah.
But look at Bueno. Yeah. Where's Richard Odada?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really want to see Richard Odada.
But that's what I mean.
Saw him playing that Pachuca friendly last year. That was it.
And he played excellent.
Yeah.
Maybe, and he's doing well on YouTube. Maybe it's just those kind of things that it's just taking him a little longer. We're seeing Bueno now getting more minutes.
I am happy to see Choo Choo. Yes.
That's all maybe it could be.
Yeah.
So,
and like I said, the coaching staff knows more than we do, but I would love to see some of these players. So maybe we'll see some in League's Cup. However that goes.
We'll see what happens, because Jim kind of double spoke on that, but we'll talk about that as we get closer to League's Cup. So, match on Wednesday in Nashville.
Yep.
Honey.
Yeah.
Corn stash.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we figured out, how many away matches the Union have won this year?
3.
And
can I bring up the topic?
The fact that we were at all 3 of those away matches, Colorado and New York.
Are you going to start GoFundMe for us to go?
Well, I know it's funny because Todd mentioned about being in Atlanta and them not losing when he was there. So same goes for, we were at their away wins, just saying. So yes, including Colorado. Okay. Which they finally got their first home win. Congrats to them.
Congrats to them. Doesn't solve
because I couldn't.
Although they did pick up they finally got forward.
They did.
So we'll see if that saves Robin Fraser's job or not. But anyway, let's talk about that. I mean, you got Joe Wells. Sorry, I just can't stand that mustache on the man.
It is a porn stash.
It is a porn stash. But he's having a great season again. They're going to park the bus, bring their excellent defense. They got Fafa, former Union player. They're going to be a problem. But the funny thing about Nashville and the Union, it plays almost the same way in terms of skill.
Let's not forget last year what we did. Even. Yeah,
I mean, we can score against them. And by the way,
can he score again there?
I mean, if Uwa scores again,
we'll make sure Kyle goes to the bathroom at that time.
What, am I going to camp out in the bathroom?
Maybe you need to.
Yeah. If we can get a point, and then as Jim said, if we can get 4 points in these next 2 games, cool.
We need a point. If we can come away with a point from Nashville, that would be
great.
Very good.
I also agree, like with him, we just need to see the Union play like the Union. That if we lose 2-1 on some Mukhtar magic, cool.
We need to go out and play well. We need to bring our A game. If we can't do that, if we keep, dicking around with the ball instead of putting that ball at the goal, just stuff like that.
Need to just be simple. We need to quit being fancy. So
think about how good that was at NYC when Jack Elliott sends the ball down Julian Carranza and he just goes for it. Boom.
Yeah.
Just stuff like that. And Julian's been so good at that. And he came close last night. And even Jose had he tried last night, and they showed him smiling in the camera. That I know he wants another one really badly.
He does. But at the end of the day, let's see if we can get a point, maybe 3. Hopefully, if we get 3 points, that's awesome.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens on Wednesday. But
definitely yesterday was eventful. There was a lot going on watching the broadcasts, and
do you want to show that? Yeah, let's
show
that.
So
we're gonna end the show on a positive note.
This is pretty funny. Now, our friend Todd with the free kick.
He's gonna have
he's got some good candidates for blunder of the week, and
really
I am interested to know what he comes up with that, because he's got a few to choose from.
So this is from Knifey Lions Radio, and
the Charlotte and Cincinnati game.
So somebody put this together. This guy went 0 to 60 in 100 minutes, and hopefully you can hear the audio. If not, we posted this on our Twitter. But yeah,
the guy is in Mickey Mouse mode there.
He was like, "Shut up!" And
that makes John Hildreth's call of that left foot. That makes that sound pretty tame, to be honest.
Well, her call on that Acosta PK, she's like, "It's on the board." Yeah. I'm like, "It's on the board." Yes, it is on the board, Jen.
Yeah.
She had another memorable call. But anyway, so that's all for this episode of the One Team We Agree On.
Yeah. So make sure to subscribe and leave a comment. We love hearing from you. And if you have any ideas on future episodes or guests, please send them our way.
And until next time, I'm Kyle.
I'm Jillian.
And we'll see you at the game.